Good afternoon, everyone. I'll keep this brief and to the point. The first quarter of 2025 was our first profitable first quarter since 2019. As a result of cutting costs, reducing excess inventory, streamlining headcount, closing unprofitable stores, exiting underperforming geographics, and focusing on the core fundamentals of the business. So overall, I read that as there was a lot of little things that we had to put a lot of work in to shift to the place where we are now and need to be. We are focusing on trading cards as a natural extension of our existing business. So making it clear, trading cards are a big part of what we're doing going forwards. The trading card market, whether it's sports, Pokemon, or collectibles, is aligned with our heritage. It fits our trade-in model, it appeals to our core customer base, and it's deeply embedded in physical retail. Spot on right here. This is a very important line because it fits the core business. You have the same type of customers, and also you need to physically go there. It brings people in the stores. Unlike software, it's tactile. Unlike hardware, it has high margin potential, which I love this because they want to push gross margins higher, hopefully over 40% in the coming years. Then you could get operating margin, hopefully to double digits at some point, right? They're just getting into the positive side, so got to take baby steps, right? And then net margin will only get bigger, especially as they're earning interest income to just boost that even higher. It's a logical expansion. Agreed. And having that turn on the board, I think, is fantastic because you have someone who is the CEO of Collectors, which is the parent company of PSA, someone very, very important and having a lot of impact on decisions made at PSA, right on the board of directors. So GameStop can pivot and adjust and be in the know of the potential changes taking place with PSA or just finding ways to further their partnership because they're in connection. Most important, none of this would be possible without the people doing the actual work, our store employees and warehouse teams. They're the ones listing inventory, sweating on the job, serving customers, processing trade-ins, and keeping the business running. So I really like that he's shouting out everyone there. Doesn't have to do that. I know, you could argue, well, of course he says that. Every CEO says this stuff. But it appeared genuine to me. Maybe I'm a little bit biased, but even if it's, generic, I guess you could say, or you could argue, I still think it's nice to say, and you should say that as the leader of a company. They're not wasting time in Zoom meetings. They're not in PowerPoint decks. They're on their feet every single day working hard and serving customers, which I think is great because there's so much, we got to do this training, we got to do this, we got to watch this we got to look through this PowerPoint, do that. And it's a lot of nonsense a lot of time, right? I'm sure some of you know from your jobs. I know from, certain jobs I've had in the past from like, all right, and just kind of like just checking boxes here. I think this is a waste of time. Of course, there are some trainings that are necessary, don't get me wrong, but basically what he's saying to me, not to me directly, but he's saying in general, in saying they're not wasting time in Zoom meetings, they're not in PowerPoint decks, they're on their feet every single day, working hard and serving customers. We're not going to do nonsense, extra training or this or that just to check boxes, right? We're going to focus on the work. And I can tell you from my time working at Marshall's, it's important. Whenever I had to do stuff on the side, I was like, you got to take this meeting, do that. I'm like, bro, I have so many clothes to put out. I got to put out shoes. I got to check the inventory on this. And I'm like, I just got to get out there and work. So it's like, it slows you down when you have a lot of like this, and this, instead of you're focusing on your day to day. They're the backbone of GameStop. Absolutely. Without hardworking employees, the company doesn't exist. In corporate America, it's totally normal to see excessive executive pay, DEI initiatives that prioritize image over merit, managers managing to Wall Street short-term expectations and analysts, and boards handing out free stock like candy to people who would never buy a share themselves. It's true. All those different things take place. You see overpayment executives. I feel like you see over emphasis on diversity and inclusion and all that different stuff. But while diversity is great, don't get me wrong, I think you got to hire based on the individual. It should be as simple as, hey, I think this person's really qualified for the job. I don't care what you look like, what your sexual orientation is or anything like that, or gender, or whatever, right? Who cares? If you're a good employee, you're a good person, you fit the company culture, great, we're going to hire you. It should be as simple as that. That's just my opinion, though. Managers managing to Wall Street's short-term expectations and analysts, very true, that does happen a lot, which I think is also in line with the fact they don't want to provide projections because then they're just like, they're not meeting projections. and boards handing out free stock like candy to people who would never buy a share themselves. That happens a lot. How many different companies you see out there where they have tons of shares these people are compensated with, but you don't ever see them buy it with their own money? That's not how we operate. We're a company that treats shareholder capital as our own because it is, because they are shareholders as well. Warren Buffett once said, "Turnarounds seldom turn," and he's right. To me, he's saying, hey, it hasn't been easy, but we're powering through. And also, I saw some people saying, oh, he's referencing Warren Buffett. They're truly becoming GameStop, Gameshire stop away, or whatever. I always butcher Gameshire stop away. And I think to an extent, yes. Obviously, I don't think it would be pretty funny actually if they actually went with that name. But I think it's more like, hey, we're gonna focus on acquiring different assets now that our core business is profitable, and also push that more and more towards trading cards. No fancy promises, no roadshows, no pandering. Just a focus on efficiency and long-term alignment with our owners, the shareholders. Thank you for being one. So pretty short and sweet. I liked what he had to say.